My name's Stephen. I work at the Church of England Pensions Board and I work in the stewardship team. Stewardship for us is about the way that we monitor and influence the investments that are under our care in the interests of our beneficiaries and over a long-term time horizon. Church investors have got a very long history of stewarding assets based on their impact in the real economy. So going right back to 1948, there were restrictions on particular kinds of business. But there's also a long history within church investors of engaging, so engaging through apartheid to end that regime. These days, what I think is most interesting and exciting about the stewardship done by the Church of England Pensions Board and others is the catalytic role that church investors can play. So that's developing and building coalitions around particular topics, whether that's climate change or safety in the mining industry or corporate lobbying around climate change. And then building a coalition of mainstream investors and others to drive change in the real economy, to improve standards across sectors, across industries. The coalitions that we've led recently have focused on asset owner leadership, so using an asset owner base to drive change and drive expectations, set global standards, set expectations that then can be delivered through our asset managers and through the contracts we have with them, and then delivered through the engagements that we have with the underlying companies in our portfolio. It can be quite challenging to build and maintain a large coalition of investors. So one of our initiatives, the Transition Pathway Initiative, is supported by $40 trillion of assets under management. The initiative we have on tailings management is supported by about $25 trillion of assets under management. There's a little bit of double counting, but there always is in these large coalitions that mix asset owners and asset managers. But what's important is that this is a significant weight of capital, that then when you come to a bilateral engagement with a company, you can then act on behalf of this wider group and say, this is the expectation, these are the standards that we expect to be met, and that we're going to back up through governance rights and through proxy voting and through the kind of more standard. I think coalitions are the best opportunity that we have to drive change, so long as they're sufficiently ambitious and that the delivery matches the promise that they hold to actually drive change. In some respects, investing in private markets and real assets, you have an even more enhanced opportunity to drive change, because typically you're investing through a private equity structure where there's a controlling ownership stake that the general partners would have. So they've got all of the opportunity and the levers to actually just implement changes, rather than going through the proxy voting or the more kind of convoluted approaches that we have in public markets. That said, the asset owner stewardship approach in private markets has to be slightly different. It's more about the relationship that you have with the general partners, the relationship that you have with the asset managers, because you have blind pool risk. Typically when you invest, you don't know what you're going to be invested in. You're trusting the strategy and the team to deliver something that's appropriate.